This video shows how tracks, routes and POIs are managed within Track of the Day. Enjoy! When creating routes with Track of the Day, there is a slightly different workflow than you know from Microsoft Word or Excel. Track of the Day uses a buffer, the so-called cache. Everything that is imported and recreated ends up in the cache. If you import the tracks of the last tours, they are then in the cache. If you create a new route, it will be automatically exported to the cache when the application is terminated. Items that are downloaded from the cloud or that are dragged and dropped onto the map or database view are also stored in the cache. The cache is different from a well-stocked database, like a big barrel that you can just throw anything into. When exiting, all tracks, routes and POIs are automatically exported to the cache and re-imported at the next start. From version 6.0 onwards, which tracks and routes were loaded and have to be imported again at the next start is stored in the file tracksandroutes.json, which can be found in the subfolder settings. If you take a closer look at this file, you will quickly understand the principle. This is where the names of the GPX elements are stored and which file their content comes from. The type property specifies whether it is a track or a route. The property is selected stores which tracks or routes were last selected. In addition, each element has an identifier that can be used to identify duplicates. This identifier contains the name of a track or route, the distance, the number of points, as well as the timestamp and geo-coordinate of the start and end points. The cache also stores the list of the last POIs displayed on the map in the poi.db file. Other settings can also be found in the cache, such as the list of recently used database queries. The most recently used settings are stored in the autosettings.tds file. In case of an update to a newer version, this file will be used to transfer the last settings to the new version of Track of the Day, to be able to take over. When using routing overlays, they are also cached in the cache. Last but not least, you will find the file knowndevices.json in which the list of known USB devices is stored. The mechanisms for using the cache are complex, but take the convenience of using Track of the Day to a new level. Even in the earlier versions, tracks and routes remained in the cache when closed. But because the cache is like a big barrel full of data, very few users have actually found accidentally closed tracks or routes in the cache. With version 6, the new Cache Explorer was introduced. Cache Explorer can be accessed by pressing Alt+C or by using the Maps context menu. The Cache Explorer is designed to find and open tracks, routes, waypoints and routing overlays in the cache. If you think everything is suddenly gone, you can simply type Alt+C and retrieve accidentally closed items from the cache. Let's take a look at how Cache Explorer works. Once opened, the current contents of the cache are analyzed and displayed in a list. All elements of this list have 4 buttons on the right side, which can be used to call up the actions Preview, Open, Import and Delete. If you click on the button with the magnifying glass icon, a preview will open. If a GPX file contains several tracks, routes or waypoints, they can be selected and previewed. Identical buttons can also be found at the top of the list. Here, bulk operations can be triggered for opening, importing, or deleting all items. You will also find a refresh button here. The Cache Explorer title bar on the far left contains a filter for tracks, routes, waypoints, and routing overlays. To the right of it there is a search box. Here you can enter parts of the name of tracks and routes and filter the display accordingly. To the right of the search box, the path to the cache is displayed. Clicking on the button with the 3 dots will open the cache folder in Windows File Explorer. Now it's time for a little digression into the GPX file world. I'm going to clear the contents of the cache and open a route from the database. Then I tap on Save in the main menu and delete the route from the list of routes. There is no track or route open now. Now I'm going to quit the application and open the cache folder in Windows File Explorer. Here you will find a GPX file with a generated file name. I'm going to rename this file exampleroute.gpx. After that, I start Track of the Day again and open this file with the Cache Explorer. However, the route is not displayed as an example route, but with its old name. Why is that? If you click on the route with the right mouse button, you can open a GPX preview via the context menu. Here you can see the name of the route. Now we give the route a new name and open the preview again. The new name will now be displayed. After updating the Cache Explorer, we see that a new route has been created in the cache. If you open the preview of this file, you will see the new name of the route. What have we learned from this? GPX files are like a container that can contain many tracks, routes, and waypoints. Each of these elements can have a name. A GPX file can be compared to a zip file, which contains some documents, images, and videos. For example, the name of the zip file has no influence on the names of the files it contains. So the file name of a GPX file doesn't matter at all, because after import, only the name of the elements it contains is used. Let's get back to the track of the day workflow mentioned at the beginning. When creating routes, all data remains within the cache. The name of the files in the cache is irrelevant, nor does it matter where they are stored. Anything you accidentally close can be found at any time via Cache Explorer. You don't have to manually cache, export, rename or sort into folder structures. All data from tracks, routes and POIs are automatically managed within Track of the Day. Only when you get to the point where a route is to be exported to a navigation device or an app does it leave the closed world of Track of the Day. Initially, we saw that all loaded tracks and routes are re-imported every time the application is launched. If a lot of tracks and routes were loaded before, this can take a long time. Therefore, it does not make sense to open more than the tracks and routes that are necessary for planning a trip. Everything you don't need can be archived and reopened at a later date. This archive is the SQL database of Track of the Day. With version 6, the function of the close button has been changed. If you click here, you will now be asked what should be done with the tracks or routes. If you click on yes, everything will be stored in the database. If you click on no, everything will be closed. If you are unsure, you can also cancel this action. New routes are exported to the cache when exiting or when clicking on save. If you have not yet saved a new route, it will be lost when you close it and click on no. If you click on yes, it will be saved in the database, i.e. it will be included in the archive. If you click on View Tutorials on the home page, the list of available tutorials opens. All chapters of all available tutorials are linked here. If you click on the website and press the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+F, you can search the video index for a specific topic. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate a thumbs up and a short comment. Thanks for watching and see you soon.